YouTube is a video platform. People come for the content. And yet, we seem to forget that before you can get people to watch, you need people to click. Because the YouTube algorithm only cares about one thing. Does your thumbnail grab the viewer and force them to click? And this is the secret only big creators understand. They aren't masters of content, they're masters of clickbait. Golden items, cluster of color, crazy faces. I found the cheat codes. 6 design secrets that'll instantly level up your next thumbnail. And the first one is the 2-hook rule. Because if no one's clicking right now, that means your thumbnails are too basic. And the way to fix this is to stack hooks in your thumbnail. Take this video from Nick DiGiovanni, where he tries to cook a whole cow. Most creators would make a thumbnail like this one on the left. Just show the entire cow in the thumbnail, easy peasy, right? But look at what Nick did. Besides showing the whole cow, he also added a second hook. A tiny, jarring detail in the form of the cow's you-know-what. It's gross, it's unexpected, and your brain can't unsee it. That tiny detail made the whole video way more clickable. And it got 20 million views while everyone else got 3 million on the exact same video. It's what I call a what the f detail. A second layer in the thumbnail that makes people go, what the fuck? It's not about making crude thumbnails, it's about surprising the viewer's brain. Adding a second reason to click. So how exactly do you do this? Well, for every thumbnail you make, spend 10 minutes brainstorming extra hooks you can sneak into your thumbnail. Now, it's impossible to find a strong what the f detail for every thumbnail. So here's where cheat code number 2 comes in, the unique angle hack. This is a secret big YouTubers abuse. Ryan Trahan, Mr. Beast, and Mark Rober all use this trick. I've done a lot of testing on this, and I found that just shooting your thumbnail from an odd angle can make your thumbnail way more clickable. Take this video that went mega viral recently. It's about playing a video game for 30 days. Most YouTubers would have done something like this. An average looking thumbnail using a flat eye-level perspective. Something we see in most thumbnails today. But this creator used a top-down perspective. But why is that important? Well, choosing a unique angle makes the thumbnail stand out because it feels different. Just look at it on the homepage. It stands out compared to everything else. And this doesn't just work with top-down perspectives. You can do angles like 2D, upwards, downwards. The key is to think of thumbnails in a virtual setting. If you have a main action, imagine there's a virtual camera you can move around from different angles to see what pops out the most. This will make your thumbnails way better than anything else on the market. Okay, so we've talked about the what the f detail and thumbnail angles, but this next cheat code is so strong, I think YouTube might make it illegal. You need to fix low-hanging fruit. See, after running hundreds of tests, I found 3 easy design changes that make your thumbnails way more clickable. First, make the subject pop. This is the thumbnail before we made the subject pop. It's really hard to make out the shoes. Now, here it is after. We made the color way brighter and it pops out way more. But why does this matter? Well, if the thumbnail stands out more, the viewers see it faster, which means they'll understand and click the thumbnail faster. This trick is really easy to do. Just blur or darken the background and the subject will pop. The second low-hanging fruit is removing distracting elements. This is a thumbnail with distracting elements. All these feet right here. And this is the thumbnail without distracting elements. Much easier to understand. Why? Because distracting elements add more complexity to the thumbnail, and the longer the viewer takes to figure out what's going on, the more likely they are to click on another video. The third low-hanging fruit is using the realism trick. Take these 2 thumbnails. Both of them use the same photo of James Charles, but one of them looks fake. The lighting is off and the angle of the head is wrong. From our testing, we've seen that fake-looking thumbnails get less views. Because when a thumbnail is obviously Photoshopped, viewers assume it's clickbait, and then they don't click. So make your thumbnails look like they happened in real life. There are exceptions to this, but for most thumbnails, this rule holds true. Cheat code number 4 is the art of thumbnail branding. Because the colors, fonts, and aesthetic of your thumbnail can unlock a bunch of extra views, if you do it right. Take for example the channel Diary of a CEO. Look at his iconic thumbnail format. Black background, white text, and red highlight color. This all comes together to create a really unique brand that sticks out from other creators. It's funny, as a kid I used to think that branding was a bunch of BS YouTube advice. The color of your profile picture and thumbnail doesn't increase views, and yes, your branding doesn't get you new views, but it can get you returning viewers. If we dive into the data and science behind this, it's really interesting. Obviously, we have new viewers, people who haven't seen your content yet. Then we have casuals. Casuals are people who occasionally watch your broad, more appealing videos. And hardcore are the diehard fans that watch every video. Now your thumbnail's branding taps into the hardcore fans using something I call familiarity bias. Have you ever seen a Mr. Beast thumbnail on your feed and then instantly clicked without really reading the title? Not just Mr. Beast, but any creator you like. The instant click phenomenon is hardcore fans recognizing the branding of the creator they love and instantly clicking. Now creating a unique branding style can be complicated, but I made this doc to break it down. First, pick a main color. This is the color you'll be using across your entire channel. Not just thumbnails, but profile, edits, etc. The next two colors need to be basic. Think black, gray, white, colors that'll make your main color pop more. Finally, pick the highlight color, which you'll use to emphasize stuff. Boom, color's done forever. Next is the font. This can literally be any style of font, but specifically, pick a font that matches the vibe you're trying to sell in your content. If you're trying to look professional, pick a clean font. If you're trying to give off more friend vibes, use a more flowy font. Finally, the aesthetic of your thumbnails. This needs to be a look that stays consistent with every video. Again, pick something that matches your content's vibe. If you're giving one-on-one personal advice to people your age, use a simple raw photo. If you're teaching complex information, have you plus a whiteboard in the background. It's that simple. You're not gonna find the perfect branding right away, so keep experimenting until you find something that works for you. Now focus up, because this next cheat code is a game changer. Have you ever had a great idea, but when you go to make it into a thumbnail, it just looks horrendous? Well, I found the solution that turns an idea into a banger visual. It's all about how you space thumbnail elements. Stick with me because this is gonna blow your mind. Look at this Ryan Trahan Lonely Island thumbnail. It's a solid thumbnail, the tiny island matches the title, but there's a simple trick that makes it way stronger. Watch what happens when we zoom out and surround the island with more ocean. Suddenly, the island feels smaller, lonelier, and way more clickable. That one shift changes the entire emotion of the thumbnail. But more importantly, when used properly, it can shine a spotlight on whatever elements you want the viewer to see. To prove this, let's run a simple test. In 3 seconds, I'm gonna flash the screen with a bunch of different thumbnails. I want you to identify which one pulls your attention first. Ready, go. Now, most of you probably focused on this thumbnail, but how did I know that? Well, it's because of the dead space. The thumbnail stood out on the homepage because of how simple it was compared to the other thumbnails. The reason this stuff works is because you're controlling the space in the image, using it to grab viewers' attention, and then pulling their eyes towards the most interesting element. One of the more common ways of using this is a technique called the rule of thirds. Take a 3x3 line grid and slap it over an image. You want the main elements in your thumbnail to align with the different grid lines. It makes your thumbnail look more visually appealing. So when you make your next thumbnail, don't make it cluttered, add some dead space around the most important element, and watch it magically pop. And finally, for the last section here, how to guarantee viral thumbnails. Add a rainbow. Rainbows overperform across kids content, tech, gaming, food, way more niches than you'd expect. But before you click off and say, yo, this guy's an idiot, let me explain. This hack isn't actually about rainbows. It's about spotting objects that consistently get high views, like a rainbow, and then reusing them in your thumbnails. I call this visual triggers. Objects like devil horns, melting symbols, or this knocking at the door format. They've all gotten crazy views on different channels in different niches. Why throw random elements in your thumbnails when you can use proven visual triggers that have literally gotten millions of views? Now, the key thing is to catalog these visuals every time you see them. So the next time you make a thumbnail, you don't need to start from scratch. You can pull from a library of proven objects. I really believe if you make thumbnails across 100 videos and actually try to improve each time, it's literally impossible for your thumbnails to suck. You'll slowly start to learn what works well as you test and optimize your thumbnails. Now, if you want more help making your own thumbnails, check out my free newsletter, where I roast people's thumbnails every week. I'll throw a link in the description. Peace.